In this episode, it's a major setback on the head swap for Project Low Fairmont, all because I wanted to Instagram and wrench. This is Straight Six Fan. I'm Grant Tommy, and this is usually where I say helping you build your hot rod and your confidence without a ton of money. But, well, today is a story of a tragedy. Where actually, if you've been watching along the journey and you've found yourself with a similar skill set as mine, kind of entry-level beginner, and you've been encouraged and inspired by me to get out there and build your hot rod and, build your confidence, well, I might be shaking your confidence today. All for the sake of an Instagram story. And, well, this guy. But before we get into the, crappy news, I guess, why don't we talk a little bit of positives about what I did get complete on the GT40P head swap here on Project Low Fairmont. So, yesterday, Saturday, it is Sunday right now, the normal work day, but I got quite a bit done yesterday. And that was, well, we got all the rocker arms and push rods installed, we got the valves adjusted, and we started test fitting our headers, the BBK headers, things like the oil dipstick, and, well, this airline that used to go to the back of the old heads, but I may be using for, well, an air supply line for these catalytic converters on the new H-pipe. But while I was feeling good about myself, getting all of this done, the next step was to fill the thing up with oil. So we got ourselves an oil filter, and we dumped, as you can probably tell here in the intake valley, 5 quarts of high zinc oil into the motor since it's a flat tappet cam. And well, then the next step was to prime the oil pump to help get oil up through the push rods into our rocker arms, and to start priming the oil pump. Well, that's where this guy came in, along with this guy. But you may notice some tore up electrical tape. Yes, there used to reside a 1/4 inch deep socket on the end of this that would fit on the little shaft that turns the oil pump. I set up my DJ Osmo action cam inside the car so I could monitor oil pressure while I was turning. Since my Osmo action cam has a phone app, I was able to monitor the oil pressure while I was spinning the drill. Seeing how we were getting good oil pressure, well, and starting to see some oil to come up a few push rods, I noticed these 2 rocker arms started to get some oil. I thought, hey, now would be a good time to get this on Instagram for my Instagram story. So there's the lesson, the first lesson right there. Don't lose focus. Because the contraption I'd made, after I was trying to hold the phone, have this down here, and spin it on my drill, well, I wasn't positively finding the shaft I needed to with the 1/4 inch socket. What instead I did, I got this and pushed it probably closer to where there's a little hole where the cam gear meets the distributor. And as I spun this, of course, the teeth on the cam gear tore up the electrical tape, which was supposed to help secure the socket from falling off. That was what this was all for. And, well, that's when this happened. So now one of 2 things probably happened. Either that socket found its way all the way down to my oil pan by dropping straight down, which is what I believed to be the case, or it fell into my timing chain cover. So thinking about it, I've got 2 ways to go. I can pull either of those 2 off and hope that it's in one of the 2. But because my oil pan had shown signs of leaking at the gasket, and I was kind of on the fence about doing a new gasket for the oil pan anyway, I'm going to start there. if not for the residual tape that I found on the camshaft sprocket or gear, it just gives me one other reason to point towards. It's probably in the oil pan. There's more room for it to have slid into the hole that goes into the timing chain cover, but just looking at how tight things are in the timing chain cover, I feel like I should have been able to see the socket. Either way, either hole it went down, I can't see a remnant of it. And you know, that clip I slid in from my phone, you can hear it clanged on something. So it dropped and clanged on something. So I'm hoping it's the oil pan. So that's where we're gonna start. There's instructions in my Chilton's manual how to replace an oil pan without pulling the motor. So we're gonna try that. And worst case scenario, so if I pull it out and don't find it in there, well, then I know that worst case scenario, the consolation prize is a new oil pan gasket. As you can imagine, that's a pretty deflating blow to progress on the GT40P head swap. I thought we were kind of gonna, you know, crest the hill, if you will, and be on the downhill slide of wrapping this thing up and getting it back on the road. Now we have more work for ourselves. So as you can imagine, I'm pretty deflated right now. Just created more work for myself. Gonna spend more money for a car that we're already over budget on. And if you want to know why that's a concern, well, I'm all discombobulated. Over here is an info card to where we're at on the budget situation. But if you guys want to help pick me up, cheer me up, leave some sort of comment down below to do that. Your choice. Like, share, subscribe, or pick up a straight 6-fan Pistons tee and help me make a little income that way. But the other thing I always say is that even though it's bad luck, like, it comes with the territory of hot rodding, this sucks. But I've also seen, I mean, we've seen Finnegan and Freiberger deal with things like this. I've seen people with way more experience than me have something like this happen to them. So it's part of the deal. It stinks. But anyway, if you want to see some more happier times on Project Low Fairmont, I suggest watching one of these two videos. Otherwise, that's going to do it for this episode, and until next time, peace out.